10, The New Day break up. Now this is how you do a tag team or a faction turning heel. For weeks we all thought that Xavier was going to turn heel on Kofi, but no. Instead, we get one of the greatest heel turns of all time at the 10-year anniversary of The New Day. The only reason this is so low on the list is because it is a little bit of recency bias, and we don't know exactly where Kofi and Xavier are going to go with this heel turn. Will it actually turn out good? Is this whole run going to be as good as them turning heel? And what about Big E? What happens to him in this whole story? Hopefully he can get medically cleared and come back to the ring if that's what he so chooses. But otherwise, this is bar none the best heel turn in the entire year, if not maybe of all time. Number 9, the Bloodline Saga continues. We just recently got the reunification of the OG Bloodline, and it is so great to see all these guys back together again. The dynamic they have is just peak characterization in professional wrestling. From the downfall of the tribal chief to the rise and creation of the new bloodline, this whole new saga has given us a chance to relive the greatness that is the bloodline, creating more internal strife between Roman Reigns' OG bloodline and Solo Sikoa's new bloodline. I mean, Roman's got his wise man back. He's got, I guess, Punk in a certain way. Sami Uso's back. And you got Solo Sikoa, who brought along Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and who can forget about Jacob Fatu? I mean, come on, man. Number 8, the creepiness on Raw. Karrion Kross is finally finding his footing on the main roster with his new faction, the Final Testament, even with the likes of The Miz helping out the faction. And who could forget about the Wyatt Six? For weeks, they kept us on the edge of our seats as we waited for them to finally show up, and when they did, they tore the house down. These two factions currently going up against one another is probably what's best for both of them, because it's giving them a chance to show what everyone has to offer. Karrion Kross is a fantastic, mob leader boss with his band of misfits, the Final Testament. And then you have Bo Dallas playing Uncle Howdy, being this more crazed psychopath with his band of misfits. You have Miz being this scrappy guy who doesn't want to be a part of things but keeps getting roped in and everything. Akam and Razor, they're doing a fantastic job of being the big bodyguards. The old man, I can't remember his name. He's kind of just there. Also along with Scarlett, kind of just there. And I still think that the Wyatt Six has a little bit more to give before they finally hit their peak. We're just slowly going up the mountain right now because none of the other characters have really had a chance to show what they have to offer. It's mainly been the Uncle Howdy show. But let's be honest with each other. This is probably going to be the creepiest feud we've seen in a very long time. Probably since Mankind versus The Undertaker way back in the 90s. Number 7, working with other companies. WWE, for the first time in a very, very long time, is finally allowing their wrestlers to go to other promotions and show off what they can do. Shinsuke Nakamura got to fight the Great Muta in his retirement tour. AJ Styles was allowed to go up against Naomichi Marufuji. Not only this, but WWE has allowed other wrestlers from other promotions wrestle on WWE television. And yes, we did get Mickie James, a few years ago. Just think about it. We had Jordynne Grace in the Women's Royal Rumble this year. We had Joe Hendry, one of the most over indie guys on NXT. Who else is going to show up in WWE in 2025? Especially with the Royal Rumble just around the corner. Number 6, the women's division. At certain times. Of course, we have to start off this list with the main women of WWE. Rhea is having a great year for herself, and so is Liv Morgan. Bianca won the most matches out of any woman in WWE this year. Jade Cargill joined the biggest wrestling company in the world in a great Royal Rumble debut. And let's not forget about the mid-card women. Chelsea Green and Michin have been putting on some of the greatest matches the women's division has seen in years. And Tiffany Stratton coming out of nowhere and winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, basically catapulting her into the main event scene for 2025. Now, I say at certain times because some things have gone on a little too long this year, but I would say for the most part, the women's division has never been better. Number 5, Jey Uso's push. Okay, I'll admit it, I was wrong. Earlier this year, I made a video how WWE was failing in their attempts to push Jey Uso into the main event scene. And as you can see, I am now fully behind Jey. Wow, how times have changed. He is beyond over with the crowd. And I remember reading something that he's the biggest merch seller in WWE right now. That's ahead of Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, all these big name guys. And the Yeet guy is selling more than all of them. Now, while his wrestling style is still quite a bit stale, he more than makes up for it in his character work. I, for one, am absolutely ready for Jey Uso to actually be pushed into the main event scene coming in 2025. And you know what? I'm gonna leave this on for the rest of the video, and you can't stop me. Number 4, the Judgment Day is just pure fun. Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Carlito, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, and my boy, Dirty Dominic Mysterio have been so much fun to watch this past year. All their antics with everybody, whether it's Damage Control, the Tower, what do they call them? The Tower Twins, the Titan Twins, whatever it is, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. Every single backstage thing that they do and Dominic's little stupid thing that he does is just such joy to watch. Finn Balor has slowly been losing his mind due to, Damian Priest pretty much getting everything he wants out of WWE, while Finn had everything taken away from him, and he just can't seem to get it back. You have Carlito and JD always, playing 2K in the background, and not to mention, JD is easily the best seller in WWE right now, bar none. Raquel joining the group was kind of strange at first, but when you see her history with Liv Morgan and everything, it does make sense to a degree. I wish they'd done a little more with her character to, actually turn her heel, but I think overall she's a great addition to the crew. Liv taking Rhea's place not only in the Judgment Day, but as champion and in Dirty Dom's heart is one of the best storylines of this entire year. It has made Liv Morgan one of the most perfect heat magnets to date. Probably just behind Dirty Dom Mysterio, because whatever he's doing it right. He is masterfully perfecting the way to be someone you love to hate. And I still can't get over every time he does that stupid, where he poses and he sticks his tongue out with his stupid mustache and his stupid mullet and his tiny muscles. I just hate this guy. I hate him. Number 3, CM Punk's WWE Renaissance. It all felt like when Punk left and then he joined AEW, there was never a chance he would come back to WWE. Royal Rumble, special guest referee, strap match, Hell in the Cell, and War Games. That is every televised match that CM Punk has had this year. And my goodness, what a resume for 2024. I feel like when he first got hurt during the Royal Rumble, everyone was thinking, oh great, it's old man Punk. He's not going to be able to withstand this. And anyone who said that was just straight wrong. Because then he went into a special guest referee match with Drew and Seth and that whole thing. And then the Drew stuff continued when they went into their strap match, which was, you know, an alright match looking back on it. But then they had their masterful Hell in a Cell match. And then Paul Heyman brought him into the Bloodline stuff in War Games. What can't this man do in WWE? Now, I also do want to give Drew McIntyre his flowers here too, because without Drew, we don't have any of this year of Punk. Punk probably would have feuded with Seth the entire year and culminated at WrestleMania probably. But all thanks to Drew praying for it, we have the best feud in WWE this year. He's been putting on clinics every time he goes out to that ring, proving that Punk still has some fuel in that fire. Every match that he's been a part of this year has been contender for match of the night. And then every single promo he does is just absolute perfection. He even did commentary this year at WrestleMania and knocked that out of the park. What can't CM Punk do? Number 2, NXT call-ups. As an honorable mention, I want to put them here first because I don't know if they've actually been called up from NXT to the main roster. It hasn't really been established, but Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson have been amazing in the women's tag division. These two came up in a time where the women's tag division's pulse was nowhere to be found and they needed severe help. Not only did they come up and show what they can do, but they showed that the women's tag division is here to stay and that it actually has some competition. Now, there were 3 main guys that made bigger names for themselves this year, and these are the ones that really stood out to me. Although Ilya did wind up getting injured earlier this year, he was really showing out in matches, putting everything he had into every single match. And the crowd reciprocated what he was putting out. And that's kind of hard to do with the kind of style he does. I'm just hoping he can pick up where he left off in 2025. The dogs are barking in every single arena that Braun Breaker shows up to. And yeah, sure, you know, he won the Intercontinental title and then dropped to the J and then won it straight back. But sometimes you need that, you know, you never guess what's going to happen. He lost it, he won it, it doesn't matter. He's been doing fantastic. He is taking the helm that Gunther started and turning his reign into one of the best mid-card reigns this year. Sheamus, Ludwig Kaiser, great opponents for Braun Breaker, and I can't wait to see what he'll possibly do with, you know, maybe like a Braun Strowman or a Bronson Reed. A lot of Brauns this year, you know? And last, but certainly not least, is Carmelo Hayes. And just like Jey Uso, I wasn't too hot on Carmelo Hayes when he first came to the main roster, but he certainly has warmed up to me, especially after that Andrade feud, where both of them were going for the United States title. I think they just wanted a bloodbath with each other. Carmelo Hayes has run with every single opportunity he's been given on the main roster and has stomped it out into absolute perfection. And finally, number 1, Triple H's creativity. It has finally happened. The first year of Triple H having full creative control of WWE, and man, did he knock it out of the park. I think as wrestling fans, we can all agree that this regime of creative is leaps and bounds better than the old regime. Now, That doesn't mean he hasn't had some downfalls, because he has, but I think for the most part, it's been a fantastic year for WWE, telling storylines, creating characters, and making feuds that we actually care about. You have more superstars getting time on the television. You have better production, especially when they do those shots when they're outside of the arena or coming into the arena, all the way down to the ring. That's so cool, and that hasn't been done in decades, probably literal decades since that's happened. Overall, it's made Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and all the premium live events just so much more fun to watch, and therefore makes Triple H's creativity and, you know, the writers and everybody in production who helps out with that, the best thing of WWE this year. Now, there's my list of the top 10 best things WWE did this year. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Did I leave out something from this list? Maybe, maybe not. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and if you're feeling a little jolly, maybe you hit that bell notification for me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.
You know, when they list the 10 best pictures ever made, there are always 2 or 3 of his in the list.